man, this thing likes to power slide really well too. Oh my god, they did their homework on this bike. Alright, day 2 of the Get On Adventure Fest, and I signed up for the demo rides on the Tuareg 660. I picked one with a beautiful blue and white color, so I'm talking to Piaggio Group about trying to get demo bikes from them, but they have a very, very small press fleet, and since I'm not Cycle World or Revzilla, you know, I'm probably not highest on the list, but it sounds like they're willing to work with me, so hopefully I'll be able to get one of these soon for a long-term test. And if not, I'll just buy one, because that's how we do things at Big Rock Moto. But how the bike feels right now, as first time riding one, is it feels really, really good. It feels like a Tenere 700 kind of on steroids, you know, just a bit more of everything. I can tell you right now, the suspension on this bike is a lot firmer than the Tenere 700. I can feel it right away. The suspension feels very well supported. It sounds really good too. It has this really nice intake noise. Wow, that sounds really nice. The dashboard is a little bit small, but it's very well laid out and very legible. Though this bike does not have a quick shifter. Oh man, it sounds good. The handlebars are really high. Handlebars are really high up, so that when you stand, you feel like the bars are really high, and when you sit, yeah, I don't know, they've got like a tall bend on them. It's comfortable, I like it. The windshield seems to work pretty well. It's not a ton of buffeting. It's better than the Tenere 700, way better than my Norden, which you guys know I've complained about a lot. In here, there's quite a bit of wind noise, 75 miles an hour, but it's smoother than the Norden, and it's a lot more wind protection than the Tenere 700. The windshield's pretty wide. I love the intake sound on this thing. Alright, so here's some specs on the bike. You've got a 21-inch front wheel. The wheels are tubeless, and they have the spokes coming out here, like BMW, which is a good design. You've got big dual front discs. I think they're 4-piston Brembo calipers. You've got a non-adjustable windshield, LED headlight. You've got the radiator up front. They have a skid plate, but it's kind of this two-piece flimsy kind of skid plate, so I'm not sure about that. You can see the exhaust header coming out here. So the engine is part of the frame. You can see the oil sump down here. I would definitely be upgrading the skid plate on this bike. Foot pegs with removable rubbers. Nice big brake lever there. Of course, the exhaust, swing arm. The rear is a, is it a 17 or an 18? It's an 18-inch rear, so I like to see that. It's 4.8 gallons of gas, and I'll put the liter conversion of that here. So, you know, pretty good. I think your range should be around 200 miles, maybe 250, depends on what mileage you're getting. The seat's kind of narrow, but it's pretty comfortable so far, but I haven't been able to ride the bike all day. You've got the Pirelli Scorpion Rally STR tires on there, which a lot of the bikes are coming with stock. The turn signals look like, yeah, they're nice LED turn signals. You don't get a rear rack or anything, so you'd have to add all that. Let's see, and then a dashboard. So you've got controls here for like the menu system. You've got the cruise control, which comes standard. Turn signals there. You've got your start switch. This controls some of your lights. I think you can turn on the running lights independently, so that's kind of cool. You've got a bar here for GPS. That's really smart. And you've got this protection here for the gauges so that the sun doesn't hit it too much. So I like that. So for power, you're looking around 80 horsepower, and I forget the torque, but I'll put that here. You can notice the extra power over like a Tenere 700 for sure. And the thing I like about it most is the induction noise. The suspension feels really good. I'm very impressed by it. I think the suspension on this, I mean, I know it's early, but I think this is better than the Norden 901. It's not as good as an 890R. In terms of like compared to a T7, it's way a whole nother universe beyond that. Plus the thing with this bike over the T7 is you get electronics, you get traction control, you get cruise control, which is so important. The overall sense that I have, you know, riding this is that it's just like, it feels like a ground up design as an adventure bike, which I think it is, unlike the Tenere 700, sorry to say, which really isn't. I really want to spend more time with it, but man, it sure feels like they did their homework on this thing. And the quality, the overall quality of the fit and finish and how everything looks and is put together and everything, it definitely seems better than the KTM and the Husky. It's not as nice as a BMW, but it's pretty good. You can feel it has about 5 more horsepower than the Tenere 700. It definitely feels more lively than the T7. Yeah. Impressive. This is so much nicer than the Tenere 700. It blows it away.
I agree.
On off-road, the suspension is pretty firm too. Like, it's not too soft.
Right.
I think they did their homework. Yeah. Yes. Oh, listen to that. Sitting here at over 80 miles an hour, like, there's no vibration. The wind buffeting is not too bad. I feel like you could really get a little bit taller windshield and it would be really good. I like the dashboard. I like how all the controls work. You see how I'm hitting the rev limiter? It's because the engine is so smooth.
So I don't know about all of you, but as an adventure motorcyclist, I need all the help with my personal grooming that I can get. And that's why this video is sponsored by Manscaped.com. Manscaped is a leader in men's grooming, and they're going beyond the groin with new products like this ultra premium collection. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit that literally covers you from head to toe. With the launch of this collection, Manscaped has really perfected the 5 steps in 5 minutes technique to men's grooming. Introducing the newest formulations by Manscaped for all your grooming needs. We've got the shampoo and conditioner, we've got the body wash with cologne scent, and we've also got the hydrating body spray, we've got aluminum-free deodorant, and we've got specially formulated lip balm. And best of all the products in this collection are paraben-free, vegan, and animal cruelty-free. A huge shout out to Manscaped for keeping me covered from head to toe. Go over to manscaped.com and use the promo code BIGROCK, all one word, to save 20% and get free shipping even internationally.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Dork on the road, we got Jake the Garden Snake, and we're gonna ride the Tuareg 660 for a couple hours. So
we're gonna get dumb. Let's go get hurt. You know,
let's not do that. He's listening.
Look at this concerned look over.
Oh, this is sandy. So I'm riding out here in Jawbone Canyon in what's supposed to be a dirt bike area, and there's a lot of deep sand, and these are really not the tires for that, but you know what, this is a real world test of this thing. But you can really rally this bike around. The chassis is really good. Oh yeah, I should not be here on this motorcycle with these tires. Wow, this is fun though, man, look at this. Really good low speed control, like I can crawl down, it doesn't want to stall. Really good gearing. This bike could be very, very good in technical terrain. Whew. Alright, so I'm trying to summarize my thoughts on this Tuareg so far. So a couple things to keep in mind. Whenever you ride a bike for the first time, your opinion tends to sway more positive because it's like a shiny new toy syndrome, right? So everything I am showing in this video, just keep that in mind, that this is not a long-term test and things always seem great at first, right? But so Aprilia let us take these bikes out for a couple hours today on our own, and I've been really pushing the bike pretty hard in a lot of different situations, and I really don't have much to complain about yet. I mean, yeah, there's the typical wind buffeting, but the windshield's pretty wide, and I think it just needs a little spoiler on top. Would be easy to fix. The electronics are a little bit confusing, but they work well. But learning how to control them and set them up just takes a little bit of learning. But that's not really a big deal. That's every bike you're going to get. You're going to have to learn how to use the menus. But it allows a lot of customization. The comfort, I found the seat to be comfortable over a couple hours so far. The ergonomics, the bars are really tall, so I think a lot of people are really going to like that. It's a very comfortable bike to ride. The engine is silky smooth and it sounds amazing. So as much as I like the engine on the Tenere 700, this Aprilia is my new favorite, like mid-sized twin-cylinder engine that I've ever ridden. So really happy with that. The suspension performance has been very good. I weigh 190 pounds and the suspension performance is great for me. It's not nearly as soft as most Japanese bikes like the Tenere 700 is, and I would say it's very close to the level of the KTM 890 Adventure R or 790 Adventure R. It's definitely better than my Norden 901 for sure, and you have full adjustments unlike the Norden. So I think for $12,000, which is what this bike costs, I think this is an exciting and compelling adventure bike that deserves more investigation and more thorough testing. Hey everyone, this is Ian from Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm here with Ben from the amazing YouTube channel Dork on the Road. I'm sure a lot of you know him. And we both spent a lot of time with the Tuareg 660 here at the Revzilla Rawhide Get On Adventure Fest in the Mojave Desert. And we're just going to talk through some of our thoughts about this bike after spending some really quality time with it.
I'll do my intro. Hello and welcome back to the Dork side. I'm the Dork on the Road. This is Ian of Big Rock Moto, who I'm sure you know, and we just
So we're talking to two different cameras today, so it's okay. Sorry, we're going to look at two different angles, but Ben and I are both filming a little bit of a sort of an outro, I guess, for our rides on the Tuareg. So thanks, Ben, for joining me and kind of sharing some of your thoughts on the bikes. We got to ride these bikes for 2 days, two different times.
We were very lucky.
Aprilia was nice enough to let us have the bikes yesterday for a few hours by ourselves to really go rip them around.
Nice enough or foolish enough?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe you can start. Like, you just bought the T7, you bought a Norden. Like, what are your thoughts on the Aprilia compared to the other mid-sized bikes?
Yeah, so it's really great of Aprilia to let us take those out, and I don't know about you, but I get a ton of questions about that 660, and I'm just like, guys, I've never even seen one in person, so it's hard for me to answer it. So cool of them to let us do that and take them out. It's interesting because, you know, I've only had my T7 and my Norden for like a week, but it really, to me, it fits in between the two. It's like they had a baby. It's got like all the fancy electronics and stuff that the Norden has, but it's narrow and nimble feeling like the Tenere. It's like a Tenere that is well equipped, and the price is right in the middle too. So it's almost like they did that on purpose. But it was very fun to ride.
Yeah, I agree with all that. For me, you know, all the complaints that I had about the T7, which people get on my case for, but I felt that the T7 was a little top heavy maybe. It's the fuel tank is a little too small. It doesn't have cruise control or traction control. What are the other things I said about it? The suspension is soft on the Tenere, but not on this. So the Tuareg, for me, I felt that it checked all those boxes off. And so it might be my like unicorn mid-size bike because it has the electronics and features that I want, the good componentry with suspension, great brakes. It feels really narrow, and it feels like something I want to ride off-road a lot. And it fixes everything I didn't like about the T7, and it feels a lot smaller than my Norden. And to be honest, it feels like a higher quality built machine than my Norden does. And I'm just being honest about that. I could be way off, but that's just how it feels to me. Of course, I could be impacted by the fact that my Norden is currently broken with a broken shock.
But mine isn't, and I agree with what you're saying. The fit and finish pieces, and I don't know, just like the turn signal feels loose. It's just little things like that on the Norden that makes me think, how much did I pay for this? And everything seems more tight and like well built. Solid really is the word I like to use a lot on the Tuareg. I was impressed with, and I know it's a little lighter than the Tenere, but not a lot, but it feels very nimble, very light, and without that top heaviness that you're talking about with the Tenere. And we got into stuff that I would not have gone into on purpose. And aside from one little oopsie, it handled it admirably. The problem was between, you know, the handlebars and the seat on the bike. The bike was more than capable of handling anything we threw at it out here.
How about sort of comfort and fit and ergonomics and everything? Like, how did all that feel for you?
I really like the bar position. It's a bike that I don't feel like I need risers on. I kind of want them on the Norden. I feel like the Tenere's bars are about the right height. I felt it's pretty comfortable. We did a little bit on the highway. That was good. Standing's good. The seat at first I thought was very comfortable, and then after a while it was a little stiffer, but it probably has to break in.
I think the seat is not as good as like the Norden is. I think it's more similar to like a KTM 790 seat, but it felt okay for a couple hours, but I don't think it's an all-day saddle, so it's a little narrow. It helps the bike feel narrow, and it's not too tall. I think it's around a 34 and a half inch seat height maybe. I mean, everything on that bike felt dialed in to me. People are concerned about reliability, parts availability, dealership network, and all that stuff, and those are valid concerns, I think, and I don't know the answers to those things. But for me, like, I have a few Aprilia dealerships within a couple hours of me, so it's not really a problem for me personally. Is it a bike I would want to take on a round-the-world trip? No, I would take a Japanese bike. But for the kind of riding I do, like at events like this and BDR type riding, backcountry discovery routes, I think that bike is dialed for that. Its suspension, I wouldn't need to do anything to the suspension. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I wouldn't call it it's not a GS, right? But it's not supposed to be. It's a bike that can handle the technical rougher terrain while also carrying your gear. which is, and it's a good mid-size, you know, it's not too heavy.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's exactly what I personally look for in an ADV bike. So I was really impressed with it.
The engine, I love that engine. Oh
Yeah.
my God, the intake sound, and we'll cut a little clip of that in here. When you're really on the throttle, it just begs you to keep going and going because the intake honk is so loud. It just gets in your brain. They really engineered the sound of it. That engine is super smooth. There's no vibration coming through the bike at all.
Yeah, you're right.
Even at redline, there's like no vibration. That is a great engine, and it makes 5 or 10 more horsepower than the T7 too.
Interesting.
Yeah, even though it's a similar size engine.
Well, and it's one of those bikes where, you know, you start going and you look down and you're like, oh, I'm going 85, 90 miles an hour.
We were not going slow
No.
on these test rides. Let's put it that way.
No, it's pretty wide open out here.
And yeah, it's wide open desert, and man, I got on some of these single track ridges, which was amazing. I was like way in over my head, but the bike was like, yeah, bring it on.
Yep.
You know, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to perhaps buy one for reviewing on the channel. So I'll let this truck go by.
Watch my feet.
You want us to move?
Watch my feet.
Okay. That's the best endorsement. I mean, Ian rode it for a day and he wants to buy one, and he's got a Norden sitting at home.
You know, I mean, what happened is the first ride on it, I was super excited, but you're always excited for your first ride on any bike. That's the way life is. But then when I rode it the second day and I still wanted to buy one, I want to buy one not only for myself for how I ride, but also because all of you are wondering about the bike, and you've asked me to research this bike and test it out. And the most honest way for me to review it and really learn about the bike is to own it. Because if you're just riding a press bike, it's just not the same thing. So
Right.
I think you guys as an audience deserve that, and I'm going to try to get one as soon as I can. So.
Yeah, and I think I'm not going to buy one right away because I just bought two other bikes.
bikes.
But it was really great to get some seat time and extended seat time, because people are always asking me to compare it to, this guy's tent's blown away. Oh.
It's not even windy now.
Yeah, we've had some wind in the desert. Let's put it that way.
Just a little bit. You said the W word. It's okay though, because we're leaving.
Yeah.
But people always want to know, you know, how it compares, and I have the other two at home, and at least now I have more than a 15-minute test ride on this one to really talk about it. But it's one of those bikes where you struggle to find. I struggled to find things that I didn't like about it, other than, like you said, availability, reliability. We just don't know. Those are question marks, but it's not. And even people have concerns about, you know, the engine's a little smaller, but like I said, we're doing 80, 85, no problems. You could ride all day on the freeway on that thing. You don't even need a bigger engine.
No, the engine's perfect, and it has more power than a T7, and it's just as smooth as a T7. I say the low-end power is really smooth. You can idle it down in second gear to walking speed, and it doesn't want to seem to want to stall or anything.
No, not at all.
So I think they really did their homework. You know, there's some details on the bike that I want to research more, like that skid plate doesn't look. You know, that factory skid plate's not going to work, and there's a few things like that, and I worry about aftermarket availability at this point because the bike is so new. That's the problem with being an early adopter. There's nothing for it.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, and it's not going to be widely adopted like the Norden is or other bikes, so it's going to be a little scarce for that. But that's part of why I think I should buy it, to really see how that is. I've never had an Aprilia.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to. You know, so.
So if you had to rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
Like a 9. I mean, I don't know. I want to give it a 10, but the thing is, there's just not much competition yet, because there's these mid-size adventure bikes. There's just not that many of them. Everybody's trying to buy T7s and they're not available, and people are paying way over sticker for them. But I'll tell you what, like the prices people are paying for Tenere 700s is the same price as the Tuareg is.
Cheaper in some cases.
You know, the Tuareg is $11,999
12 grand
for the base color, and man, that's a deal.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of motorcycle for that price, and I think it definitely belongs in the conversation, obviously, with those other two bikes and the mid-sized bikes that companies are finally starting to come out with. So if you hadn't heard of it, or you're sleeping on it, or you're not sure because it's a brand they don't really make adventure bikes, if you can get a chance to test ride one, I would encourage you to do it. It's an impressive machine. It was really fun.
Yeah, go ride one, and stay tuned to both our channels, obviously, for future information on this bike, and I'll keep you guys updated on how this goes in terms of if I'm getting one, and maybe by the time this video goes out, I may already have one.
Yeah, dude.
So who knows? But it's always an adventure.
Yeah,
so.
And that'll be cool. And I at least have the first test ride, and then we have the extended test ride that we did with Jake and Jeff, who is behind the camera right now. So there's at least 2 videos on that, plus this. So they're either out already, which I'll link for you, or subscribe so you don't miss them.
Yeah, and thanks to our friend Jeff, who's holding the camera for us. His channel is ADV Agenda. I'll link it down below in this video. But thank you, Jeff, for helping us out this weekend.
Yeah, Jeff's the camera guy. So ADV Agenda, I will link that for you. Go check out his channel. Follow him on the gram.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Ride safe. See you out there.
Yeah. All right, well, I just want to say thanks to Ian for being here and having this conversation with me. He's all packed up and trying to get out of here. I'm like, dude, let's film a video. So it's been a great weekend, great time. Big thanks to Revzilla, Aprilia, and everybody, and thanks for being here, man. And as always, you guys, if you have questions, leave them in the comments. But for now, and as always, please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Oh, thank you. Sweet, dude.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.